more music. Yay!
Good morning, Dr. Jonathan.
Good morning, St. Steph. How are you?
Oh my goodness, I am fired up and ready to rant. How are you doing?
I'm always. I love a good rant.
I love a good rant. Yeah, I am feeling fired up and a little feisty today, so I'm looking forward to this.
You and me both.
Much.
Yeah.
I
mean, I don't think it's probably going to come as any surprise that you and I generally chat before we go live.
Yes.
And yeah, our chat this morning has been pretty roasty. That's how I'm going to refer to it. It's been roasty. We've been just kind of, yeah.
Yeah. The rant before the rant.
The rant before the rant.
Yes.
Yeah. So I feel like one of the things that we may want to do for a little while, I'm just putting this out that we didn't talk about this. I think one of the things we may want to think about doing is every time we come online, just reminding people what the rant is. I mean, we have our regular viewers, but if you're new, what is the rant, Steph?
Oh, the rant. Oh my goodness. Well, the rant started like in consciousness quite some time ago. And
just like everything.
Yeah. It's like radically affirmative new thought.
Yeah.
And so, but like in such a way that we get to discuss, we get to chew on, we get to contemplate and consciously evolve in such a way that allows us to use the science of mind, new thought teaching, spiritual practices to engage our life as the practicality of spirituality needs to be at the forefront, and we can be radical and affirmative in our thinking and have a fulfilling, abundant, and wonderful life.
Yeah.
So that's what it is to me. What's the rant to you?
The rant is an opportunity to remember who I am.
Yes.
I mean, that's really what it all boils down to.
Yeah.
When I remember who I am and that I am the outflow of an infinite divine loving presence, an infinite divine creative energy, that I am not only the construct of that energy, but I also construct the energy, that I am creating a higher quality life for myself. And that is through this radical affirmative new thought.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes.
I actually have another question for you. So, you know, I will acknowledge that we both come from the religious science background, religious science being one of the primary philosophical approaches to the new thought umbrella. New thought is the umbrella. Religious science is one of the things under that umbrella. And unity is also under that umbrella. And they have distinctions in terms of their approach to the teaching. But I always say, when people ask me, what's the difference between religious science and unity? I always say, there is no difference. We just use slightly different jargon, but we're saying the same thing. So this is all just basically to lead up to this question. As I am now an ordained unity minister, and that tends to be the approach that I take is leaning into a unity language. You're still very much immersed in the religious science side of things. What would you say are the principles in your language? What are the principles that you teach?
Oh, goodness. Great question. For me, like, first and foremost, it's oneness. It's being that there is one, it's a substance that is back of absolutely everything. And oneness is the main principle. And I think that, like, you know, the laws and principles of spirit, that we are, the main principle is that as you think, it is, right? We are the creators of source and substance, and that we use that same source and substance that has created us to create. And so oneness is the biggest thing. And I bet we talked about all, like, there's 12 principles or something, that we would all be talking about oneness at the end of the day.
Yeah. Okay. How does the human expression fit within that?
The human expression?
Yeah. We are human expressions of a divine power, right?
Mm-hmm.
At least that's how I construct my own sense of identity. So how does the human expression fit within all of that?
Well, we're the inlet and the outlet. We're the vessel and the flute, and everything that is spirit is working itself through us. We started teaching a class last night, the Tao of Prosperity, and in part of the teaching, Reverend Tammy was talking about that we are the universe peopling. The only way, like we are. Like human beings are how spirit is showing up in the physical form, because conscious outlets need a conscious inlet. So we get to be this experience and expression. The human being it's impossible to have spirit without conscious awareness of it. And so that beautiful nature, it's in our nature to be the divine. And the human experience is just to remember who we are, to remember that source and substance is everywhere always. It's the human experience is to feel on behalf of, for lack of, language is so limiting. Language is so limiting that I'm using words to describe something that is indescribable. We are already one with it. We are the substance. And our aware presence is unique and unrepeatable. And so we're just globs of flesh buckets in and out of source and supply. And we're individualized freedom to express spirit as spirit wants to express.
I think that I have to use that now as a Sunday talk title, Globs of Flesh Buckets. No, but you know what? You said something that that struck me, and I just want to repeat it, because you said we get to be these human expressions of the divine, right? We get to be that. We are not relegated to something less than, and that's why I love that idea. We get to express the divine. We get to express God. We get to express this magnificence, and what an I get excited by that.
Yes, I
As
get
you
excited.
can probably tell, I'm super revved up now.
Well, I mean, think about it. I believe in evolution. I believe that it has taken billions of years to get this awesome.
Yeah.
And DNA, like we are one strand away from being a banana.
Mm-hmm.
Like seriously, scientifically, we are one strand away from being a banana. And now I know that my banana is living its purpose, ripening in my bowl of fruit and sustaining this human body, aware. My mind is aware that I get to partake in its potassium and its magnesium and its experience. I get to peel it. And so just that one strand of DNA, I have aware presence. I'm aware that I'm observing my consciousness. I get to be aware. I could have been a banana. And so I don't know what it's like to be a banana, but I know it's a shorter lifespan for sure.
But okay, you ready for this? What if we actually are bananas, but we're perceiving ourselves differently?
Yeah. Right? Yeah. I'm just in some fifth dimensional fruit bowl experiencing, I'm in a petri dish of some higher dimensional experiment. Oh, look at this one's awake. Oh, wait, she thinks she's awake.
Yeah, right.
Oh, she just gendered herself. She's sleeping. Right? Like there's this life is to be. That's it. Yeah. And the sooner we can get to that realization that it's just here to be yourself, be your authentic self. Yeah. Oh my goodness, stop letting people, oh my God, language, so limiting. We allow people to rub up against us and polish us up so that we're nice, smooth bananas instead of brown spotted ones, there's, oh my goodness, this is the life we get to live. We get to live this. It's
what
amazing.
A blessing that is.
We have so much. We've got people watching.
We do. Yeah. So let's say hello. I want to say hello to Wayne, one of our consistent watchers. Grateful to see you this glorious day, Wayne. Jerry, blessings to you. Grateful to see you. So Wendy said that what the way you offered that was so beautifully said.
Hi, Wendy.
Grateful to see you. Anita, another talk title, One Strand from Bananadom. You got it. I'm doing a talk on that, not this Sunday, but I'm doing it.
But I love Becky's comment here, because we were like, just before we came on, we were literally talking about this.
Right?
We were saying, oh, sorry. Go ahead. You press the buttons. You press them. So Beck says, good morning, Revs. Would you please comment on the statement that I shared with you recently, Rev Steph, that all beliefs are limiting? And we literally just said that as your comment was coming in. Literally, as you commented, you were the first comment. We were just about going live, and I shared with Jonathan this statement: all beliefs are limiting. And so no accidents.
If like literally, if we had like backstage cameras to see like what was happening as we prepare to go live, that you would have been floored that we were having that exact conversation.
Yeah.
So yes, yes, all beliefs are limiting.
All beliefs are limiting. Go.
All of them.
All of
Every
them.
single one. There is not a belief that can be held that is not limit in some way. And of course, again, my background originally is religious science. So I'm going to go to the quote of Dr. Ernest Holmes that says, belief sets the limit to a demonstration. Mm-hmm. Your belief sets the limit to your demonstration of a principle that is without limit. The principle itself is without limit, but it is our beliefs that are constructing the expression of our lives.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yes. All beliefs are limiting. And you know what? That's a good thing. I choose to see that as a good thing, because if beliefs were not limiting, I would have no manner of expression, because there would be no expression of the container that makes up who I am. Mm-hmm. That makes sense? Sure. Like, my belief is that I exist. So that's number one. Well, to exist, now I've set up edges.
Yeah. And what does to exist mean?
Right.
Like to a wild turkey or a squirrel, existence means something different than to someone who is consciously aware of existence. Mm-hmm. I can just imagine like two squirrels sitting on a wire, like, oh, how's your day going to be? How's your day going to be? I've just been pondering life, and I'm thinking, I really would like a career change. We don't have a belief system that believes animals are communicating like that. But animals communicate with us all of the time. And so we know language is limiting, because there are barriers between. How often, I've heard people say, oh, English is one of the hardest languages to learn. And I think, have you ever tried Klingon? Like what's proper grammar in Klingon?
Well, I think we can make determinations around that any language can be challenging. Like, we can make that determination. I still hold on to the belief that French is hard to learn. And so as a result, I have never committed myself to learning French. I know a word here and there, but I'll tell you, when I was in Paris last year, I'm grateful that people just clocked me as an American, and they kind of just started speaking to me in English everywhere I went when I was in Paris. I can sort of get by with Spanish, but again, the language that we use is actually a reflection. So I'm going to, that was all that way. The language that we use is a reflection of the beliefs we hold. Mm-hmm. And so language, as we are expressing outwardly the beliefs that we hold within. And the beliefs will always override the spoken word. They will always override the language out loud, because the beliefs are the limiting factor. So I really am moving, because oftentimes I think we think about like change your thinking, change your life. The thoughts we often formulate in language, many of us. I mean, there are some people who do not think in language. I think in language. Like, I have complete sentences that are happening in my mind all the time. So I think in terms of language. The thoughts, though, may have contradictions in the belief. So I can say till I'm blue in the face, I love myself. But if I don't believe that I love myself, guess what's going to unfold in my life?
Yeah.
The lack of love. The lack of love.
Yeah. And
Audrey.
that brings up the, I don't enjoy this statement, fake it till you make it.
No.
Because if you're faking the feeling, your body knows you're faking it. So your mind is, calling yourself untrue. And then you're also allowing yourself to spiritually bypass what you're faking over top of, right? Yeah. So that, because feeling, we've talked about before, feeling is the fuel.
Feeling's the fuel.
So the belief and feeling, those are way more tied together than the words that we use in practice.
Yeah. So on a mindful moment this week, a question came up. Somebody asked the question, so what is the difference between thought and feeling? Because they felt like, there was that their thoughts could be feelings. And I said, I think that the difference is that feeling is the tone of the thought, if that makes any sense. And so we can have one thought, but our feeling around the thought can be either constructive or destructive. So that's how I would designate that. There is a question here, though.
Yes.
That came up. Is there a way to get beyond beliefs? I think the way that I would ask this question is, why do you want to get beyond beliefs? Your beliefs. Here's the thing. I think perhaps the question is there a way to get beyond beliefs that are not constructive in my life? And the answer is yes. That's what New Thought is all about. It's about addressing those beliefs that are not constructive in our lives. And I'm going to use this phrase. You may not like my answer to how you do that. And the answer is you just do it. It sounds very flippant. I get it. It sounds very flippant to just be like, you just change your belief. Like, yeah, you just change your belief. Well, there are core beliefs that we find very challenging, because what seems to happen is everything in the world of form is upholding the belief. And so we get into this kind of secondary thing going on of like, oh, that's happening. It supports the belief that I have. The belief that I have, actually, what I don't realize is continuing the creation of that thing, but I see that thing out there. And so I continue to believe it until you break the cycle of that secondary causation. You're probably going to hold on to beliefs.
And might I just add, if we're trying to get beyond a belief, we're labeling that belief good or bad.
Right.
And there is no good or bad. We're working through this life. We're evolving. We're having. I mean, I used to believe different things for sure than I do now. So we can change our beliefs. We can, and the more we know ourselves, the more we discover about ourselves and the things that we value. I mean, those are the beliefs, right?
Yeah.
The guiding principles of our life. We believe that those are principles that we should follow. So moving beyond those beliefs, I think it's going to be more of a knowingness, right? There's things that I just know, for like a divine certainty is within me, that I am source, that I am one with an infinite intelligent presence. And I look out into my world and I find evidence every which way that I'm supported by an intelligent presence. I have a knowing about that. For me, that's no longer a belief. Other people trying to catch up to me in that way, they're working on their belief. They're strengthening their knowingness. But I have done mountains of 30 years worth of work on my beliefs about myself. So it wasn't that I moved beyond belief. It was that I changed my beliefs to have a more fulfilling life, a more loving life, a more ingenuous life.
Yeah.
So it's like when you get to a place inside of yourself that that's moving beyond belief. I know who I am, and nothing is going to shake me. Nothing is going to waver me in that compartment. That compartment is done. I got 24 more drawers over here. Let's pick those out now, And so beliefs aren't good or bad. we want
Right.
we want a pill. We want something to just click and make it happen. But as you and I know, you wake up every day. You don't just wake up once. You wake up to the newness of yourself every single day. That's awakening.
Right. Yeah. There was something you said earlier that I wanted to respond to, and it's okay.
It'll come back.
The minute anyone says good or bad,
Yeah.
what comes up for me is that I have reframed my whole approach to the understanding to say that I have beliefs that are constructive in my life or destructive in my life. And I don't call either one of those good or bad, because sometimes the destruction needs to happen for the phoenix to rise from the ashes. And so I allow myself to be on the journey. I usually try to choose the constructive beliefs, but in the construction, sometimes you need to allow the destruction to happen, right? To make room for the new. So this kind of comes up to the next question from Audrey. How do I break the cycle? Practice. That's where I start. You practice. You're right. We wake up every single day. We wake up every single day. We don't just wake up once. And the ability to keep our minds and to keep in the practice, not just giving it lip service intellectually, but deepening into the heart space of knowing that you are in charge of every aspect of your expression and beingness.
Yeah.
Living from that point of view, when I adopted that point of view very deeply, what I realized is that I then took on full responsibility for my life. I didn't defer it to anybody else. It was an invitation for me to begin to observe my life, to see what was working, what wasn't working, and to get my mind in alignment. And if I ever found myself drifting, that it was my responsibility and no one else's to get right back in it. So part of that too is to say, consistency in the practice, to remember that there is no destination, there is only the journey, and to always do your best. That's how I would approach it.
And I'll just add one thing. It would be to stay curious.
Yeah.
To stay curious and expect wonderment in your life.
Yeah.
You know, because if there is a pattern or a cycle happening that is unbecoming of your presence, you get to change that. You get to change that.
Yeah.
And how I do things like that, how I get out of it is stay curious about it.
Mm-hmm.
Why am I still learning? Didn't I write a paper on this already? Like this is I've got a doctorate in this. Why am I still working on this one thing? So you stay curious about the brilliant mind that is bringing something and putting it in front of you. Because what I always say, if it is before you, it is for you. That is it.
Yeah.
And so if you are in a cycle of something deconstructive, take a look at it. How is it still serving you? Because the moment it no longer serves you, you will let it go.
Absolutely. You know, well, I'm gonna use the analogy of going to the gym. You know, you're not going to go to the gym if maybe this analogy will work for some and not for others, but I don't go to the gym expecting to bench press 300 pounds if I've not been going to the gym. But I can work my way up to it by taking the 45-pound bar and starting there. Bench press 45 pounds until you begin to build up the muscle. The mind is like a muscle, right? And so we are building up that which is strength and support and the capacity to lift ourselves up from the destructive thoughts that may be detrimental in our experience.
Yes.
So, yeah. And I would say where Audrey goes, it is living the experience of the love feeling I would say let that be your 45-pound bar. That's where we begin.
That's where we begin. Yeah.
I choose to express from the point of view of love. I express from the point of view of love. That's how I'm going to choose to wake up in the morning. And, you know, and if you are not able, here's the thing, if you are not able to commit to that for an entire day, maybe when you get up in the morning, just say, you know what, I'm going to express only love for an hour.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to be the presence of love for an hour. And then let yourself off the hook for the rest of the day.
Yeah.
And the next day, I'm going to express
Yeah.
love for 2 hours.
Yeah.
And you build up the resiliency to then shift into a whole new way of being. And
Yeah.
and if you flub it up, I was going to say something else.
I like that. If you flub it up.
If you flub it up.
Yeah.
Here's one of the most important things for me in my approach. Let yourself off the hook.
Yes. Yes.
You've got to be gentle with yourself.
Yeah, be gentle with yourself. Some days, one of my favorite authors and teachers, Tam McKeeves, she said, oh no, actually it was Susan Pierce Thompson. She is the author of Bright Line Eating. Some days you just need to remember to put the bunny slippers on. It's okay to go easy on yourself. You're not holding up the whole world. You're just holding up your own head, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're just right here.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, like I was given new information about myself by a professional who has, you know, the more information is that I have ADHD. And isn't that, I have it. I don't own it. It's like this thing. It's just more information about something I already knew, because for 20 years, 30 years pre-diagnosis or new information, I've still gone from a monkey playing with a hamster on a wheel to presence right now. And how you do that, like you said, 45 pounds, oh my goodness, I had like 3-pound weights, right? If I would push myself away from my desk and sit still and not do anything for 60 seconds. That was my baseline. Mm-hmm. If I could sit still for 60 seconds 2 decades ago, and now I could meditate for 6 hours, like no problem. But you know, you got to start somewhere. And you don't have to beat yourself up. If you can only do 60 seconds, that's amazing. It's more than people who aren't even giving a poop about bettering their lives or staying stuck where they're at, right? What is it? 90% of the game is won by those who just show up.
Right.
Just show up for yourself. Stay curious. Show up for yourself. Yeah. And then when you've got that figured out, then you take some more little goslings in your in your nest, and then we do it together, and then more and more and more and more, and we will change the whole world, because we have effectively and efficiently evolved our own consciousness to a place and a space where we can live a radically spiritual life, loving who we are, loving each other, and being the best versions of ourselves.
Yes. My goal in my ministry is to put myself out of business, because we have all so deeply embodied the understanding of our true nature and identity that we don't need to be reminded of it anymore.
Yes. Yep. We're just showing up, our best lights.
But that's maybe the 300-pound bench press.
Yeah. Or the 450 leg press.
So we're getting there. And I do believe we're getting there. I think we are on the precipice of universal conscious shift. I believe that is unfolding right now. And as I talked about the nature of destruction before, we will see the destructive elements all around of those things which need to be destroyed and fall away because they are not in service to a global consciousness of healing, love, and light.
Yeah. Here's what we should be bench pressing it here. Oh my goodness. Look at the language.
What we should be bench pressing?
No shoulding. Here's what my goal or intention is to bench press the notion. Now I forgot the notion because I had to correct my language. That yeah, I don't even know.
All right.
I don't know where I was going with that. And I also see that was 30 minutes again.
Every single time we join together, it's like it goes boom so fast.
Yeah. I'm really looking forward to that thought coming back, because it was a good bench press.
Yeah, awesome.
I think like staying curious, bench press, staying curious, do some leg lifts around, what is your responsibility, and making sure that, here I remember, bench pressing, getting better at not sharing every opinion you think of. Like if the whole world just stopped sharing every opinion about other people or other things outside of themselves, right? If we just stop sharing the stuff that is just murking this clear vessel of water that we are, the flesh bucket that we are, that's my work.
Can I make just a slight adjustment to that?
Absolutely.
Because I think it's absolutely valid to be able to share our opinions. I think oftentimes people will couch the idea that they are sharing their opinion, but what they're actually trying to do is convince other people that their opinion is right.
Yeah.
And so then that's when it becomes combative, rather than this is my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah, we can have all the opinions we want to have. Mm-hmm. In my rule, my playbook, it is end I harm none. And there's so many opinions out there, and now with the blessing of social media, we get to garner our support against other people's existence, and that's doing harm to all of us. It's all because it's so in separation. And I teach oneness, so everything that has this sensation of separation, pulling apart, divisiveness, it hurts all of us.
Yeah Oh my, Steph, I really could go on for another couple hours.
Yep. I know, me too.
So many thoughts now.
Yeah.
Like, here's one. I promise this is it.
If it is.
You talked about ADHD before, right?
Yeah.
And I sometimes wonder, had we never defined ADHD, would those who are the expression have some level of ADHD? That's why we get along so well together. Would we have just been continued to be referred to as the gifted and talented kids?
Right. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I'm convinced now that I was put into the gifted and talented program in my school because they needed a way to kind of address the ADHD behaviors. That's what that was all about. Yeah.
And so I was given this new information, and I just think, well, you know what? I'm still special.
Absolutely.
I still am the only one who gets to think these thoughts. I still that's amazing that these are my thoughts. Everything and everyone in the universe, these are the thoughts that are in me. Wow. And I get to play with them. I get to maneuver them. I get to stay curious about them. And yeah, there's still work out there because there's still people believing we're separate.
Yeah.
Those are those beliefs that I would like us to bench press and work through, that there is nothing separate, that we are connected. And like Mother Teresa said, if there is no peace, it is because we have forgotten that we belong to one another. So, it's funny because I'm always talking about, you got it, your oxygen mask on first. And in that, it sounds so counterproductive but we belong to everyone. Shouldn't I be putting everyone's masks on? Well, if I put my mask on, I am putting everyone's mask on, because there's
Mhm.
only one oxygen creating substance for all of life, and it is in me.
Mhm.
And so I am responsible for clearing out my limiting beliefs and making a better day for the world I'm in, because there's only one of those two, one world. This is it.
This is it.
At
least so far as we know.
least so far as we know.
That's a rant for another day.
Yeah. In this dimension and in this time, in this
plane of
physical
action.
form.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
This is it.
Seems to be. All right, my love.
Okay. Did we get everybody? Oh, Lillian popped in. Hello, Lillian.
Beautiful.
Good to be with you. Yes. Audrey.
Yeah.
Yes. Love.
And actually,
Awesome.
Audrey also put this up. So this is the practicality. Yeah. What we're talking about is practically applying the principle. Practically applying the principle. I can't even say that very fast.
Yeah, say that 4 times fast.
Practically applying the principle.
Yeah.
So we'll be back next week.
Yes.
Same
Tell
time.
your friends.
Same place. Yeah, tell all your friends.
Tell all your friends. The rant is on Fridays, and we're so excited to be with all of you to do this, to have these conversations. Let us know. We've got our emails right there, Steph at and Rev Jonathan at. So let us know your thoughts. Keep the conversation coming. We love you, and we're just as curious as you're thinking as you are of ours, I'm sure.
Yes.
So
yeah.
Until we see you again.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.